begun!
Oh boy, smooching time! Ah!
Oh. Hello, welcome to Two Tales, and of course I'm Anthony, I'm your host. This is a do-it-yourself kind of segment, the project portion, and I really wanted to talk about some progress I've made in regards to making a Viking shield. Now, I'm not just going to show you some of the materials that I've picked up, but I'm going to show you where am I getting this information from. How is it that I'm coming to the understanding of how this shield should be made as far as it being close to authentic, and some of the sites and resources that I'm getting. So this is kind of like resource gathering, so to speak. So stick with me, and I'm going to show you a couple of things. What you're seeing here is actually a little bit of a graph that I made for me to track what it is that I need to get. Now, the truth of the matter is, with the exception of a decent power saw that allows you to cut like circular portions out of wood and that sort of thing, and it's really not expensive to do this project if it's something you're interested in. If you don't really have an interest in it, then yeah, a lot of this stuff would just be kind of like a waste of your time. But so I've got like two sections here. One is kind of a tool section, which is on the bottom there. The one at the top is materials. Material-wise, it's fairly straightforward. You got wood for the body of the shield. The canvas is an interesting touch, which I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. Sorry, my dog was prancing. I'll talk about the leather as well. Nails used obviously to hold on to the handles, the boss, and the edging. Paint for decoration, waterproofer because they were put on the side of ships and so forth. So water and wood makes it super heavy. And wall hangers is a side thing. My wife would like to have one, but she doesn't really want a functional shield. She wants a decoration. So I could skip a few steps and just make a wall hanging front face shield. But whatever have you. Now on the bottom left, the etching for steel. Now I've done a little bit of research which is separate from where I'm getting my information on shield building. So you can get a decent result using a Dremel. However, apparently it's considered much more professional with a chemical etch or a chemical electro etch. And I found a video. I don't know if it would work on just any grade of steel. I know it works on stainless steel, so I'm going to try that one. But it's a separate video. I don't have the link on hand. I'll try to add that comment in later. But basically, you really paint your design on there, and then using the battery charger, the vinegar, and the salt, you wind up chemically etching off a small section and causing a premature corrosion or oxidization, I think, is how it actually works. And it puts that pattern that the nail polish had down on there. With that being said, because that's something I'd like to do, it'd make it more ornate. It's also kind of like a back burner thing. Generally, from what I've seen, it's not hard to build one, but I'm betting it's hard to build a nice one. All right, so let's stop this here and let's move on to the next little bit. Okay, so this is the website where I'm getting the information from, Herstwijk. I really hope I've pronounced that correctly. I'm still very much in the beginning stages of learning Norwegian and Icelandic. It turns out Icelandic apparently is the closest to Old Nordic language. But anyway, from as far as I can tell, and some of the friends I've got that hobby in creating Viking equipment and so forth, they consider this like the foremost authority in regards to the correct history behind it. There's a lot of good information here, including, books for research and that sort of thing. So what I found interesting is if you look into the history of the Viking, shields were kind of expected to be part of your normal battle gear. If you didn't have a shield, you were considered a bit of a mad lad, so to speak. And it's to the extent that in later time, you actually have documented laws with instructions to how to properly construct a shield. Right here, the Norwegian Gulaping, really probably mispronouncing that one, and the Frostaping. So shields, on the other hand, what's interesting about it is that there is architecture or the archaeological evidence, and then there's archaeological literary evidence, and they kind of contradict each other, but they're both documented as being historically correct. In this particular case, the actual law dictated the shield be made wood, that it had iron bands on the back as support beams. The handle was fastened to the back with iron nails. The law was revised later to say that it was made with a double layer of boards, and the front should be painted in specific colors. However, I think this is a locale type thing because the other law dictates different colors. But as you go in and look at this, you find out that it calls for a specifically linden wood, or here in America we call it basswood. But most of the shields that have been documented are made from spruce, fir, pine. That information is right here. So the archaeological evidence, which is actually laws that have been verified, kind of contradict, because a lot of what is described in the law is not what's being found in the shields themselves. For example, instead of having iron support beams, are usually wood support beams on the back of the shield. And instead of an iron rim around the edge of the shield, it's usually leather. And there's a couple of reasons for that. And actually, right here at the top, this is interesting because it says around the 10th century here that the shields were made of laminated wood. Laminated wood, if you don't know by modern terms, is pretty much equivalent to plywood. But there's no physical evidence of that, just documented evidence of that as far as literature goes. So there's kind of like this double personality for a Viking shield. Now, Gokstad, these shields were important because it was the largest collection that I know of that was found and was able to be examined in regards to how the shields are done. They found that they were, chamfered. Chamfered is actually a specific beveling on the edge where you have a 90-degree angle that comes into a 45-degree angle. It makes it a little bit thinner around the edges, a little bit lighter, but that thinner edge actually helps with a little bit of deflection, because what I have found is that Vikings tended to use the shield as their primary tactic because they could actually outright parry, and depending on how your boss was made, use it to disarm and break weapons. And your killing weapon was actually the secondary step in the strategy. But anyway, so let's move on down. So it gives us the general measurements. Measurements actually ranged as small as 27 inches to as much as 32, 33 inches, I believe. A shield for me would be roughly about 32. All right, so right here, this is the boss. This would be the center dome that would protect your hand. And you can see what I'm talking about. The one on the left has that ridge there. Apparently, a skilled Viking could trap a weapon in that ridge and with a twist, disarm or break the blade of that weapon. I'm presuming that would come down to preference, just like the size was pretty much tailored to the size of the person using the shield and his fighting style. And that's really what I think came down to why we have a discrepancy in the literature versus actual physical evidence, is because, to be honest, the idea of having iron struts in the back, an iron rim around the shield and so forth, that's going to be a much more expensive than something that's just wood with wooden supports and a leather ring. And, back in the day, money was a tight issue. There was also the advantage of the leather, because over time leather will dry out and it will tighten up and shrink, and that helped hold the shield together. So let's move on a little bit here. What's up? Yes, it's almost 7 o'clock, buddy. This is my time. Go on. Do you want to say hi real quick?
Hi.
No. Come over to here where the microphone is. You're Streaky Bacon, and you want to say?
Hi.
Hi, I am?
Streaky Bacon.
Why do you sound so down?
I want to play Roblox.
Buddy, just get your Chromebook.
I already have it.
Okay, so there you can see what the backside look. We're done. Go on. Go on. Thank you. So as you can see, there's the handle view here. There's a leather strap on some shields. Some Vikings had the ability to just flip the shield onto their back and switch to a two-handed technique. But we're going to skip down here just a little bit because I wanted to talk about the canvas here. All right, so this is an important point. As you can see, this is the leather around the edging here. Some people will lace it in with a leather cord. I prefer the idea of using the nails, which is the picture on the right. You would drive the nail through the whole thing, and then you would do a clench. A clench is where you actually fold the nail over to pin it into place. And apparently some people use clamps during the Bronze Age, but okay. So this particular site doesn't just give a lot of historical background and examples and what has been found about them. They also do some testing, and that's what I'm trying to get to. Techniques. Here we go. Nope. Nope. Still doing technique here. Okay, here we go. So they test their equipment, and what they actually have found is that a Viking shield that didn't have canvas across the front lasted only a fraction of the time. Laminated wood was far more durable than the plank shields. They used a spear on that one. I'm trying to find specifically the canvas example. Welcome back, Mrs. Details. Ah! No tickling! Ah!
What you gonna do about it? Spousal abuse. That's what you're gonna do about it. Nothing.
I have audio evidence.
Nice. Go ahead. Call me on my domestic violence.
Everything's out and cooling for dinner, sweetie. All right, back swimming. Okay, so I don't want to waste a whole bunch more time here. I'm trying to find a specific thing. But what they actually found is that a shield that is covered in canvas on the front actually lasted almost 5 times as long as a shield that was made without the canvas on it. That's what makes that important. The fibers being glued to the front of the shield made it far more durable. All right, so with that being said, let's move on to something else real quick. Right, so right before we get down to me showing you the actual materials that I've picked up already, as far as the crafting materials and what those are looking like, this is Grimfrost. So I got this advertisement probably because of the amount of searching I've been doing in regards to Vikings and Scandinavia and Norway and all that good stuff. But so Grimfrost is a authentic Scandinavian site that does the clothing, home decor, weapons, toys, the whole 9 yards, and all of it is really solidly authentic. Now, the reason I'm showing you this is because this is where I'll be getting my steel boss from. They actually come with the nails or without the nails. I would get the nails, and as you can see, it's really not that expensive to get the boss for the shield. The wood right now, lumber right now is, now that's a drinking horn right there. Lumber right now is actually by far the most expensive thing. All right, in just a moment.
Doubled.
Yeah, the lumber
And
is
sometimes tripled.
yeah. That and finding the wood that you want is kind of tricky too.
Yeah, I
but,
know it is.
All right, so I'll be back in just a moment, and I will show you the materials that we've picked up already and what the plans are for those. Okay, and here's the last thing that I actually wanted to share with you guys. Some of the materials I've already got picked up, not counting the hardware, hammers and nails and stuff that I actually have on hand. Now, this is a cotton canvas. I think this is going to be perfect for front of the shield because I'm going to do some painting for decorations. So this should be a really good medium to paint on, and it should glue easily to the front of the shield. But this is what I really wanted to share. So I found it a lot easier to get a leather imitation upholstery than actual leather, and I got this at like 40% off, and it was about $37 to $38 a yard. So saved a bit of money there. But my wife selected the actual color because I'll be doing her shield first. This is a nice rich dark brown. You can see some of the texture here. This should offset the black base and the metallic green for the web of weird she wanted to paint or have painted on the front of the shield. So materials are being gathered, and we should start actual construction very soon. So there you have it. Gathering materials for the first do-it-yourself project. All the best to you fine foxy people. Two Tails out.